Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the MTG Goldfish Podcast, episode 149, your weekly podcast covering everything Magic the Gathering related. You can find us on Google Play, iTunes, mtggoldfish.com, and now on YouTube. As always, the crew is here. I am back, Chaz, your host, or one of the hosts, focusing on the financial aspect of the game and all-around content creator, joined by Richard, the owner of MTG Goldfish. What is up, Richard?
Hey guys, what's going on?
What is up? Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, our resident jank brewer and all-around content creator. Seth, how's it going?
Doing good, guys. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Feeling better, although, who knows, we could obviously just go right to a relapse depending on some of the cards we talk about, but I'll be okay. On the docket, really fun cast. We're going to jump into some Rivals of Ixalan cards that, kind of escaped into the wild, so we're going to touch on them. There's a few, I think there's 3 cards that we wanted to talk about. I think they were the only ones out there. That will lead us into Unstable. We are in the midst of, all these Unstable previews. We're about 93 cards in as of this podcast we're recording. So we're going to, have our thoughts on Unstable and a few cards that we wanted to touch on, and we'll wrap it up with a ton of fish mail. We have a large haul of fish mail to address, so we're going to try to leave as much time as we can for those. So let's jump right in. Rivals of Ixalan. We got to see a few cards, 2 of which were revealed today, and 1 via PAX. So, Richard, take it away.
All right, so you wouldn't know we're in the middle of Unstable spoilers or the Iconic Masters was released because for some reason we have Rivals of Ixalan, which is releasing next year. But Storm the Vault, it's a flip card. So 2 blue and a red, legendary enchantment. It's a rare. Whenever 1 or more creatures you control deals combat damage to a player, create a treasure token. At the beginning of your end step, if you control 5 or more artifacts, transform Storm the Vault. Flip side is tap, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool, and also tap, add blue to your mana pool for each artifact you control.
All right, so Richard, what do you think?
Tolarian Academy's back, yay! I don't know what to make of this card. If you flip it, it's very powerful, obviously, but what do you do with this? Because you need 5 artifacts to flip it, and today the only decks that would play such a card would be maybe Lantern Control. And what would they do with this land? I have no idea. What new archetypes can it spawn? I don't know, but I don't think it's as broken as a lot of people are claiming it is. We have similar cards. We have the Gaia's Cradle that flips. Hasn't really done anything in Modern. So I'm gonna guess this is pretty balanced. I don't think gonna kill Modern or anything like that. Probably will have some weird janky standard deck to support it. Depends on if you can make a pure artifact deck or not.
Yeah, my initial impression when I saw this card was like, "Oh my god, that's so busted!" It's literally Tolarian Academy, and just for fun, you also get a free City of Brass, which just sounds absurd. But then I thought for a minute about how Growing Rights of Itlamok was so hyped, and so far has just done essentially literally nothing in Standard or Modern. I was like, maybe this will be the same way. I think the upside is this does support itself to some extent. You do need a lot of creatures to attack with it, but it can generate its own treasures, which isn't bad anyway. It reminds me of Coastal Piracy or something, but instead of drawing a card, you just draw a Lotus Petal every time you hit with a creature, and then you get a payoff of having a super sweet land. I think what I'm most excited for is Paradoxical Outcome has been close in Standard. With Aetherflux Reservoir, you just play all the artifacts, bounce them back to your hand, combo off like Storm, and this feels like the perfect card for that deck. Whether that means it's a real deck or just a really fun deck that's competitive enough for an FNM, I'm not sure, but it does make me excited to brew around Aetherflux Reservoir and Paradoxical Outcome before they rotate.
I love how we cover preview cards so much. Just seeing, and I was sitting back and watching your reaction to this, Seth. It was just so funny because I kind of had a similar reaction too. It was like, wow, that's really strong. And then 5 minutes later, it's like, yeah, it's still pretty strong, but it's like growing rights, like that was hyped, and then like 10 minutes later, it's like, yeah, I don't know if this is gonna do anything. So you just see the spectrum of how we evaluate cards in the span of mere like 10 minutes. It's so funny, but I kind of landed in a similar spot you and you and Richard had of. It's a strong card. It definitely. I like the point that you made that it kind of. It's like a self-contained card. It kind of. It supports itself, right? So it's making artifacts, and then it flip on its own. It kind of almost replaces itself, but I don't know how powerful it is. Of you're not drawing cards, you're just making treasure tokens, and then what's your payoff with the vault? So yeah, maybe something like Paradoxical Outcome can utilize this to some extent. Does that propel it into a tier 1 deck? I don't know, but at least for me. The flip enchantments have all been, they've all been strong, but fair. So to me, this just seems like another fair card that obviously has more upside in Commander, but still remains to be seen what it can do in a constructed format.
What about Vintage?
Ooh.
What about Vintage?
You have lots of artifacts. It pitches the Force of Will. It's pretty good, right? You can brainstorm it away if it's garbage. I don't know. You can tap for lots of mana. I have no idea. But it's one of these things that because it has the word artifact in it and it seems insanely powerful, it can fit in Vintage.
Strangely enough, I actually think one of our other rival spoilers is a card that might be getting a little bit of hype for Vintage, which is kind of funny. But, you never know. It could work. I think the problem is it's not an artifact, so you can't use your artifact mana to cast it, your Mishra's Workshop mana. So I think that's the downside. But still, play a Mox, play a Black Lotus, cast this, flip it around, and you have a pretty powerful land? Maybe.
That gets strip mined immediately, but okay.
Yeah. I do like the idea of Lantern Control playing this and then just like Emrakuling people, not because they really need to, but because it'll make your rounds a lot shorter and probably make it much easier to actually play Lantern at a tournament because you don't have to grind through your opponent's deck for 50 minutes every round. It speeds it up a bit.
What I really want to see is Affinity sideboard this and then just Mindslaver someone out of blue. You're like, what? What happened?
I did think about that because it was kind of a thing back in the Affinity days to when it was in Standard to kind of bring in what was it, the dragon? Oh my god, I can't remember this. The Affinity Dragon.
Furnace Dragon?
Furnace Dragon, yeah. So it would be so funny if you just like bring in a sideboard plan of Storm the Vault, and then you just, add a ton of mana and play something like high-end. Yeah, Emrakul works, but they did use it back then to, like, power out Furnace Dragons and stuff, so that would be pretty sweet.
All right, moving on. The Brazilian Magic Twitter tweeted these this morning and promptly deleted them. But, once it's on the internet, it's on the internet. So, here we go. Unofficial translations. We have Immortal Sun. 6 generic mana, legendary artifact, mythic rare. Players can't activate loyalty abilities of planeswalkers. At the beginning of your draw step, draw an additional card. Spells you cast cost 1 less. Creatures you control get +1/+1.
So before we actually talk about this card, I gotta ask you guys. This happens every single set that some foreign language, non-English wizard site accidentally spoils some cards. Is it really possible that they just mess this up every set? Or is this like their marketing campaign and they're doing this on purpose? Like, I don't know what to think anymore.
I would genuinely like to think that, there's a lot of different, offices and people involved in this that someone is bound to mess up at some point. Now, you bring up every single set. It is true that most sets something like this does happen. Although Iconic Masters was pretty, held under wraps. So whatever they did for that seemed to work. I just think there's a lot of different, languages and regions that are in on this, and something like this is bound to happen. I don't know if we're going full tinfoil hat mode that you tweeted out earlier. it could happen. I could see that happening too, but I'm just chalking it up to user error.
This is like the worst marketing plan ever if it was intentional because
yeah.
it's just confusing everyone. I can't even tell what's a black bordered card or a silver bordered card or what set this is from anymore. So my guess is the people responsible for publishing this, it isn't WotC themselves. It's probably some contractors or something. They don't know the difference between cards. So they're like, yeah, release the new unstable spoilers. They're like, okay, press the button. It was the wrong set. And they don't know better until someone tells them. My guess is something like that happened. I certainly hope they didn't plan on just randomly dropping mythic rares from next year's set in the middle of unstable spoilers.
Although, flying in the face of that argument was Wizards actually spoiling cards on the PAX stream and talking about Dominaria, spoiling Dominaria on Iconic Masters release day in the middle of unstable spoilers.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true. I got nothing.
I have something to that, and we talked very briefly. I don't know if we kind of had a couple back and forth on this, though, Seth, that it is kind of like odd that they are talking about that stuff when Iconic Masters is releasing and all that, and the hype is supposed to be on Iconic Masters. But I guess to them, that they kind of cashed in on that already. Iconic Masters was the lure of HasCon, and that's kind of where it was hyped up, and people, had their social media events tweeting out cards, and that's exactly what they wanted to happen. So maybe to them that's in the rearview mirror, and to some extent that's kind of how card games have to survive in this day and age, is that there's always has to be something to talk about, even if it's like 6 months from now, and we don't know anything about the set other than a few pictures, that they want to keep all dropping these little tidbits of information to stay relevant and to keep people invested and hyped into the game.
Yeah, I mean, I understand PAX because it's the audience is a bunch of people that may not necessarily play Magic. So you don't want to show them adorable kitten or whatever zany cards you have from Unstable. You want to show them what your product represents. And on top of that, if these people casually know Magic, they probably know it from Magic's heyday. So emphasizing Dominaria would be cards they would, actually see and recognize and stuff like that. So that's more forgivable because it's just random people walking by at PAX. It's not necessarily, a full-blown Magic crowd. So I can see why they don't want to show Unstable, which is just too out there for the normal person.
Yeah, I mean, that does make sense. And I guess in all fairness, they can't really control when big conventions like PAX happen. So either they just kind of skip promoting their product, or they have to deal with, the schedule of it. So it's still, I just wish they'd spread it out a little more. I definitely agree with what Chaz is saying with keeping the game and the brand in the news all the time, but from the perspective of someone that does spoiler videos and makes content, I actually can
overload.
Yeah, I actually feel like I can't give all of these products their full due because they're all happening at once. I'd love to make these are the cool new cards from Rivals video, and make here's the Unstable spoilers video, but since it's all happening in the same day, there's just not enough hours in the day or enough videos I can put on YouTube at the same time. So I wish it was spread out even by just a week or something would make it easier, I think, and better.
Yeah. It definitely is overloaded at times, and maybe that's just kind of by their design, that they want so much to talk about that you get the initial takes and then people kind of go back and there's more, there's kind of deeper, more rich conversations to be had other than here's this card, here's my 2-minute thought, right? So then they go back and let's elaborate on that. So I guess they're kind of thinking there's just a lot to draw from, right? Especially for content producers. I know, like you just said, there's that duality where there's too much, and then you're relieved at times because there is stuff to still talk about.
Yeah, just because I know a month from now we're gonna have a podcast where we're just gonna do all fish mail and complain about Standard because there's nothing else going on. So why not give us something during that week? Well, timing aside, what do you think about Immortal Sun?
I think they looked at what everyone wants on one singular commander card, and they put everything on there.
It is like the ultimate commander card.
It is
It's
to me.
not,
I was like,
it does nothing for 6 mana.
it's
It
a
draws
do
a
nothing
card,
6 mana
Richard.
card.
It
draws a
draws you
card.
1 card for.
It draws a card every turn and like reduces the card's cost, and your creatures get plus. Like it does a lot of different things.
It does things that are not related. Like if you're pumping creatures, do you care that your spells cost 1 less? And you're
Yes.
just drawing 1 card every turn.
I want all the value confined to
It's
one
really
card. So if
expensive. I mean, if you gave this to me for 3 mana,
6 is not
yeah,
too bad.
it's awesome. But for 6 mana, ask Tomer
3 mana
how long
for
you
this?
survived.
No way.
6 drop tribal.
3 for that? No,
No, that'd be
there's
too
no
good,
way that
right?
would
But
happen.
at 6,
way
it's,
too good.
It's like not. I don't want to put this in my commander
Well,
deck.
you guys play Commander a lot. Like, how many people use Cage Sun? Like, that's a
That
pretty good
does a
card.
lot though. That doubles your mana, right? Like that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I will
But
literally
that's
just
like
put
the-
this in every commander deck I make.
Wait, you will
Right,
or
but
will
the-
not?
I will.
yeah.
Really, I
Because
would
the
not
fu-
include this in any commander deck I make unless
Really?
there's some specific reason to do this.
I mean, the only comparison I was making is that this is those type of effects. Like 6 kind of seems like the baseline.
Like if I wanted to draw an
It's not gonna be
additional
fun.
card, I could play Mind's Eye for 5 mana. You know, if I'm really strapped, or I would actually
But then
play
you don't get
legitimate
the rest
card
of
draw.
it.
Yeah, but if I wanted to reduce my spells by 1, I'd play Random Medallion, right? And if I wanted to pump my creatures by +1/+1, I could play Honor of the Pure or whatever, right? Like if we're playing Super Friends Week, I'm like, okay, we'll play Immortal Sun, right? But other than that, it's a whole lot of nothing.
Depending
in my
on
opinion.
depending on the translation, it also hits your planeswalkers. So that's kind of
So I think where I see this card is it's like a casual commander player card. This is one card that a new commander player can buy, and they can play it if they want to play a Spellslinger deck. They can play it if they're playing a creature beatdown deck. Sure, maybe it's not like the most efficient option for any of those things, but I feel like it's a card that those like really casual commander players will just get a ton of value out of because it does something no matter what deck you're playing. Like drawing a card's never bad. If you're Spellslinger, you get a discount. If you're creature heavy, you get a plus on your creatures. So I feel like that's where it fits. It's probably not like a competitive commander card, but it feels like a card a new commander player can spend $5 on and just play no matter what deck they're playing.
yeah. I mean, in the sake of there's Thanksgiving coming up, it's like you want one piece of turkey and then you just put a ton of gravy on it. So if you want any one singular thing in a card, you pick this and then you get like 5 other things with it.
I don't know. This is like going to KFC for Thanksgiving dinner, man.
Oh my god. No.
I'm like, I
Hey,
guess I'll take it if you have nothing better, but
I gotta say, man, KFC has not been as good as I remember. That's just a random thought, but used to be
I
so
had
much
KFC. I always run into the problem of thinking I'm gonna eat way more than I can, but like the grease just like hits you, and you
It gets
just
you.
you can't keep going.
gets you. No, you can't.
All right. So we're mixed on Immortal Sun. You guys think it's pretty good. I think it's complete trash.
Okay, I think
We'll
it's
see how it goes.
fine. Like it's fine. Like it's not crazy, not terrible.
What about
It's
standard?
fine.
Any chance you
No,
see this
definitely.
in constructed?
No way. No.
I heard
Yeah,
people
dude,
talking
it-
Tron modern sideboard. Any reason to ever play this?
For what?
I don't know.
I don't think so. This is a card I heard people saying maybe try in Vintage as well, because you can cast it with your Mishra's Workshop mana really quickly. So like
That's
they play
literally almost
weird
every
things like
artifact
that.
ever. Like,
Yeah, well,
I think
yeah.
any artifact can find some use in Workshop.
I don't really see it for standard.
Nah, this is where I will agree with Richard. It's a do nothing 6 mana card.
Especially in a format where a braid is like very heavily played.
What,
Yeah.
but what if you reanimated and cheated out early?
Instead of God Pharaoh's
Yeah.
Gift, you just
Yeah, I was gonna
reanimate
say like
this.
God Pharaoh's Gift actually does things, and still it struggles.
All right, moving on. We have another Elder Dinosaur, Tetsamok,
Hey.
Primal Death, 4 black, 6/6 legendary creature, Elder Dinosaur, Death Touch. 1 black, or just pay a black mana, reveal Tetsamok. Put a prey counter on target creature. Only activate this ability during your turn. When Tetsamok enters a battlefield, destroy all creatures with the prey counter that your opponents control.
How did we go from the green Elder Dragon or Elder Dinosaur to this? Like, where's the disparity there? This is like insane.
Yeah, I can't tell
Yeah.
which one was good and which one's bad. This one's pretty
No,
good.
this is really
Yeah.
good. The green one was a letdown. Like, I tried to find some goodness, as I always try to do, but this is like, this laughs in the face of the green one. I'm sorry.
Yeah, this card seems pretty absurd to me.
It's really good.
I really like it. And I love the flavor. I love the putting prey counters on
Yes.
random stuff, and then boom, you slam this down.
Yeah, wait, this is what I would, like, Waking Sun's avatar, wait, this is what, like, prey counters, it's a dinosaur, it's massive, it's like stalking its prey. I love the design, and it's like a mini Plague Wind on a Grave Titan.
Yeah, I'm surprised this is a rare, honestly. But
Me too. Wow.
yeah, it seems
I guess
so
they all
strong.
have to be rare then.
It's like a reverse Grave Titan is how I see it. Like, instead of getting extra bodies, you're getting rid of your opponent's extra bodies, and you still
Right.
get the 6/6 Death Touch body. But I think it's potential to be very strong in Standard, although it's a little awkward that black isn't a dinosaur color, so it's probably more like Mono Black Control or Jund Midrange or like something along those lines than a dinosaur tribal card.
Can't get harder, Kieran, but, I
Yeah,
don't think that's a problem anymore.
yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. It's gonna depend on what other 6-drops we have to finish the game, but it's really strong. And
Yeah.
I just want to see people getting stalked, prey counters dropping left and right, and then they know it's coming. They can't do anything. They can't commit more to the board, and then they just sit there. You put up one blocker, and then they're kind of
like,
screwed.
I mean, how does this, like, this changes the entire dynamic of the game almost. Like, how do you want to commit when you're on their first turn, they can reveal this and prey counter something. Like, now
Yeah.
you know that they have that. Like, this really changes the dynamic of a game in and of itself.
Well, you just play Hazoret, and you're like, haha, and then you just
Yeah,
go in anyway. I mean, we do have
My
indestructible
6/6
creatures.
can still block it.
Yeah, but you gotta pay 6 mana. Hazoret's
Yeah.
3.
It also doesn't have the anti-reanimation clause that a lot of these type of cards have. Like, if you cast it from hand. So, in theory, you can... Like, you have to have it in hand at some point to put counters on things, but after you get counters on things, you can God Pharaoh's Gift back a copy, Liliana reanimate a copy, and still get that effect, which is... I found that surprising just because almost all these cards recently are worded only if you cast it from hand.
Yeah, it was actually pointed out to me because I was like, oh, this could be like a border, like this could be a solid one of in a mid-range list. And then I read it again, and it was pointed out to me on Twitter that of the prey counters and entering the battlefield, and I'm like, yeah, actually, I guess it's probably better than a one of. It's still legendary, but it like multiple copies. It's weird because it's not terrible but not great, and then you can obviously pitch it and then do what you said, Seth, of like reanimating one of them. So, I think it's probably better than a one of too.
Yeah, I just want one in hand, and then one on the battlefield, and then just like a Venser or a Eldrazi Displacer or something, and just lock someone out of the game.
Yeah.
Alright, unstable. So last we talked about unstable, we only had contraptions. And since then, we've had a ton of new spoilers. So we chose some cards we think are pretty fun, and we chose some cards we think should be black bordered to discuss today. But first off, let's talk about one of the new mechanics. We have augments and hosts. Let me pull up. I chose the augment ninja, and if you look at the card, it's like half of a card. Creature ninja. You may activate Ninja's Augment ability anytime you can cast an instant. When this creature deals combat damage to a player, and that's it. And then it has an augment of 2 and a black and +1/+0. So the idea is it's kind of like an aura. You can augment a host, and then you put the 2 cards on top of each other, and then they do something together. So a host would be Adorable Kitten, 1 white, 1/1, host creature cat. And then there's like a sticky note of when this creature enters the battlefield. That gets replaced by whatever you're augmenting. The ability is roll a 6-sided die. You gain life equal to the result. 1/1. So if you have a ninja kitten, It would be whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, roll a 6-sided die. You gain life equal to the result, and it'd be a 2/1. So what do you guys think of this new staple 2 cards together mechanic? Kind of like a meld, kind of like, I don't know,
Yeah, it's
Brizella.
definitely fun. You can make some really messed up looking augmented creatures. I was thinking back, is this like a attack on, like, what was the attack on Mars from Mars? What was that? Oh my god, what was that movie?
Attack on Mars? You mean like the old TV show?
No, the movie where the Mars Attacks, there we go. Where they had like the little experiments. It's probably like any movie at this point, but is the reference is what I was trying to get. But yeah, I guess it's fun. I mean, I had to reread like what augmenting and what the host was doing, but then it became pretty clear. You could do some pretty funny stuff with this. Pretty powerful stuff too.
Yeah, I think it's a fun mechanic. It's really hard to get a feel for the power level because you're combining the 2 cards. So it seems like it's probably pretty good, but it at least is really fun, and I think it's on point flavor-wise.
Wait, can you double augment a host?
I don't believe so, but
I don't
quote
see
me on
it.
that.
Can I make like a monkey ninja kitten? No, it's not.
I don't.
I don't think so.
I think there can only be 1 augment and 1 host.
Aw.
So if you wanted to use the monkey, I think it replaces the ninja.
All right, so that's some weird zany new mechanic. Here's one of my favorite cards. Better than 1. Green and a white sorcery. It's a rare. A person outside the game becomes your teammate. Choose any number of cards in your hand, on top of your library, or on the battlefield under your control. Those cards become your teammate's hand, library, and permanents, respectively.
It's such a fun card, and it's such a fun looking card. You have like this like weird turtle thing, and it's like the 2 dodo heads are looking in 2 opposite directions. I thought it was so funny looking.
Yeah, it just seems like something like your friend shows up. It's like, I don't have a deck. Like, don't worry. Just take half my stuff. Go, right? It just seems like the way Magic should be played. So I really like this card.
Yeah, it's fun.
It would be interesting to see how some of these cards actually play at like a pre-release. Like who do you grab if you're at a pre-release? Everyone's playing Magic. Like I'm really curious how some of these grab someone from outside the game work in practice.
I only remember ass whooping, so it was a long time ago. Apparently, from my recollection failing me, and it was more like 10 years ago rather than just the other day. Thank you, commenters. But. I ass whooping someone and someone ass whooping my opponent. So actually, that was really sweet. It is fun. I don't know, like, does it just become like a 2-versus-1 scenario?
Yeah, don't you just automatically win when this happens?
Yeah, don't you win?
Because you get like 2
you
combat
you have a
steps and
teammate.
stuff because it's a teammate. I don't know.
It doesn't have to be anyone that's playing too. Like, it just be your friend that's just standing
Yeah.
there, and you're like, all right, you're my teammate. It's a like
but
2v1.
It's a dead card if there's no one outside the game in the room, though.
Yeah.
So there's some risk. It's like how Thoughtseize is bad when your opponent's hand is empty.
Or if no one decides, wait, do they decide if they want?
Yeah, what
to
if
be
you
your
choose
teammate? 'Cause it just
someone
says
they say
become
no?
Your teammate.
Does it fizzle? What happens? Do you get to choose
Yeah,
another
what
person?
happens? Do you get to choose someone else?
They have to. You got to play the card as written. They have to. There's no. It's like
This says
magic.
they become your teammate.
If
so
they
it's
if they
like,
refuse, they get a game loss. They get a DQ from the
yeah,
tournament.
they get the game loss.
They get their DCI suspended because
Yeah.
they did not perform as a teammate.
All right, rules lawyer. 3 white
Oh my
white
God.
artifact creature cyborg advisor 1/1. State based actions don't apply to you or other permanents you control. Now, in parentheses, you don't lose the game for having 0 or less life, or drawing from an empty library. Your creatures aren't destroyed due to damage or death touch, and aren't put in the graveyard for having 0 or less toughness. Your planeswalkers aren't put into graveyard if they have 0 loyalty. You don't put a legendary permanent into the graveyard if you don't control 2 with the same name. Counters aren't removed from your permanents due to game rules. Permanents you control, attacked, or combined illegally remain on the battlefield. For complete rules and regulations, see Rule 704.
This
What
has
What does
to be
this
the
even
most
powerful
do?
card.
And doesn't this just break the game?
Yes.
Yeah, basically.
Like, your creatures don't die anymore, right? Like, ever.
No.
Well, I think they die to Doomblade still.
Yeah, but not from combat damage.
That's true.
And they get removed from the game. They can still get Oblivion.
Yeah,
right?
you can exile them. But basically, and your planeswalkers don't die. You can just minus them and then plus them back after they're at 0.
I think if I ever see anyone play this, my goal is just to kill it, so I don't have to deal with understanding how it actually works.
They need the
There we
complementary card that say layers no longer apply or something like that, and then you put that with this and then see what happens.
I love I love the fact like we don't want this gone because it's actually amazing. We want it gone because it's just like a nuisance. It's just like
My goal is to play one of these and call a judge every single play. Judge, what happened? Judge, I don't know what's going on. Oh, these are the cards I think that make the set. The cards.
yeah, definitely.
I have to say, I was a little down on the set last week when we had one day of spoilers, but overall, I really love this set now. I think the rest of the spoilers have just been awesome.
I agree. Spike Tournament Grinder. 2 Phyrexian Black. Legendary creature, human gamer, 1/1. 4 Phyrexian Black mana. Choose a card you own from outside the game that has been banned or restricted in a constructed format. Reveal that card and put it in your hand.
It's such a perfect representation of a Spike.
This is the greatest card of
Yeah.
all time, right?
This is pretty good. I mean, this is not only the completion of the cycle. Well, there's like one more, but I don't think you could have designed Spike better than this.
The Phyrexian mana part just kills me. Like, it's such a perfect use of that mechanic.
It needs Storm
It's so
or something. But here's what you do. You sit down, you bust out your vintage deck with your friends. They play a Black Lotus. You play Spike Tournament Grinder and pick an anti-card or something and then steal their deck. Anti-cards can now be played, right?
Yep.
Oh, man. And you got to play the card as written. So
Yep,
if
yep.
you win your opponent's Black Lotus, it's yours now. That's
Yeah.
What you first do is say winner of this game or the loser of this game treats for dinner, right? You make it so that there's a downside to losing. Then you bust out Spike Tournament Grinder, take an anti-card, and try to steal all their cards.
I love everything about this card. I think it's great.
I like it.
It was, yeah. We waited a while for the kind of the last part of the cycle, and I think this like really was a perfect representation.
Wait,
of that
which cards
all
do we
around.
have? We have Johnny.
Timmy, Johnny, and now Spike.
All right. So we need
We need Filthy Casual.
Yes.
I'm sure Watsy will make a card called Filthy Casual.
Gotta wait another 13 years.
Okay, Baron Von Count, 1 black red, legendary creature, human villain, 3/3. Enters the battlefield with a doom counter on 5. When you cast a spell with the indicated numeral in its mana cost, text box, power or toughness, move the doom counter 1 numeral to the left. When the doom counter moves from 1, destroy target player and put the doom counter on 5.
You just pretty much untap and win with this, right? Like in an actual setting.
Well, you need to you need to be able to cascade it down to 1 and kill someone.
Yeah. To me, like I was looking at Unstable, and a lot of these are really fun, and some of these legendary creatures were pretty borderline, like actually cards, and this was starting to get there. I mean, this is still a little wacky, but this seemed the more like a more realistic legendary creature that could be accepted, or even in Black Border.
I think we could see something like this. I think the mechanic of whenever a number is the same as the doom counter is a little weird for Black Border, but I think we could definitely see another like target player loses the game commander. I think it would be fun. I think people will like it.
Just in
That's-
hour.
Yeah, but that was just converted mana cost. If this just said whenever you cast something with the converted mana cost, it's a little weird that it's like toughness and text box and a little.
I really want to see
too
a card
far.
that says regenerate target player.
That's what they should have done to counter this.
All right, we have Gusilda, Monster Masher, 3 black red, legendary creature, zombie villain, 4/4. Combined, enchanted, and equipped creatures you control have menace. 3 black and a red, tap it. Put 2 target creatures from your graveyard onto the battlefield, combined into 1 creature under your control. Its power is equal to their total power, toughness equal to total toughness, and it has their names, mana costs, types, text boxes, etc.
So that was the joke of the card, right? Is they have menace. Like, that's the ongoing joke, is that they have menace, right? No. Again, this is one that probably, like, as written, could be a black border card.
It reminds me of the Sultai Commander,
Right.
Mimeoplasm, something like that.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But yeah, it reminds me of that. Like, I could definitely see this just being a Commander deck legend.
Mimeoplasm, that was it.
Mimeoplasm,
right?
yeah.
It was a commander.
Yeah,
one of the first
exile 2
Yeah.
cards from
Exile
the
2
graveyard.
creature-
And
yeah.
But I think this card's super sweet. I would love
It's
to build
really
a Commander
awesome.
deck around this.
I almost thought this was black bordered. Like, this could be a black bordered card.
It should be. It's like the greatest zombie commander ever.
This is what, like, Gissa and Geralf should have
This could have been Drolf, like, because he's stitching together
Yeah.
zombies and stuff.
Yeah. We need to combine both Emrakuls.
That seems pretty
Somehow.
good.
Somehow.
All right, next card. Mary O'Kill, 5, and then hybrid black red, human villain, 5/5, legendary creature, 1 hybrid black red, switch Killbot or Mary O'Kill in your hand with 1 on the battlefield, and Killbot is just a 2-mana 2/1.
Well, it could be. We just have a curious Killbot, but it's just an archetype, or it's just a creature type,
Oh,
right?
there's... So far we only had 1 Killbot, but there could be multiple Killbots.
Yeah,
I see.
it could be. It's just a creature type. See, again, yeah, this is. I mean, it's like ninjutsu, but like better. I don't because you could save Mario Kill, or I don't know what other Killbots there are. I mean, I guess it could be any creature if you wanted, if they're every creature type, if it was a real creature type, and you could just cheat out like a giant Killbot.
Oh, yeah, like shapeshifters.
Yeah.
Or whatever, yeah.
Ah, see? This could probably just be, like, in another set. Like, just reprint this in a
It's
conspiracy
ninjutsu.
set or something.
Yeah, it is. I just don't understand exactly how this is powerful, but it doesn't seem broken to me.
What if there's a 30/30 Killbot?
Yeah.
Well,
in
yeah,
fact,
I guess if there's some insert...
triple strike.
Yeah.
right. And if you try to kill Mario Kill, you just replace it with some dinky Killbot, like the 2/1.
Yeah, and then you can play your 5/5 again. Hooray.
Oh, what if there's a Killbot
Yeah,
like,
see?
when it becomes a target of a spell, destroy target player?
Yeah.
Someone tries to
Ooh,
Doomblade
or just,
Mary,
like-
you swap her out, boom.
Just Emrakul Killbot. That would do it. Then you'd play this.
Right.
Alright, we have Summon the Pack, 7 black sorcery. Open a sealed magic booster pack, reveal the cards, put all creature cards revealed this way onto the battlefield under your control. They're zombies in addition to their other types.
I just love cracking packs. So any excuse to crack a pack is good with me.
Fair enough.
It seems powerful, though. I mean, what pack would you pick? That's my question for both of you.
Legions, since it would be 15 creatures.
Yeah, that
That's,
makes sense.
that's no fun. I would open Fallen Empires.
Oh,
You're like, Ballad, Thrall, was this worth 8 mana? I don't know.
all right. You could keep your Thalids and Thralls, and I'll get like Crowsand Cloud Scraper, and we'll see.
And then not be able to pay the upkeep and it dies.
What's the
Yeah.
actual like cheapest booster pack that you can
Yeah.
procure easily nowadays?
I think it's Homelands.
No, that's hard to get.
maybe
I mean, if you just walk into your
Dragons.
LGS or Walmart or something, like...
Oh,
Maybe Dragon's Maze, if they're still around. I know that's super cheap. Conspiracy?
is that
Original
like a Homelands
Conspiracy?
box like $30?
Oh, they're actually really expensive
Yeah.
for no good
Which
reason.
one was really cheap? I
None
can't
of those old
remember.
ones. I wanted to buy a box of Fallen Empires, and that's like way more expensive than
One of
the
them's
EV.
like $30, and it's old. I think it is Homelands. No, is it expensive? That's unfortunate.
All right, last card we want to talk about, our official spoiler card, Crowstorm. Tuna blue, sorcery, create a 1/2 blue bird creature token with flying named Stormcrow. Storm.
The ultimate storm card.
Apart from the white 2-drop that is literally a black border card, this is the card in the set I think is most black border-ish.
Yeah.
Like, couldn't you picture this being a real card in Modern?
This is literally nothing like different than Empty the Warrens, right? Like this is just a blue version of Empty the Warren.
Yeah, you like get less Stormcrows, but they have flying, so it's very similar to Empty the Warrens.
Yeah. This is a real card.
Would it see play? If they printed this, would it see play in Legacy, do you think, Richard?
I don't think so.
No.
I think because you need double the storm count. I mean, I guess it blocks Delvers and stuff, right? Like it pitches the Force of Will. It does some stuff, but it's not the same 2-turn clock. But maybe you don't need a 2-turn clock when you have 1/2 flying blockers that you can just block with a couple and chip away at them. It is one less mana. So I don't know.
I've seen enough videos of people that have whole binders full of Stormcrows on YouTube and stuff that there's got to be someone who would play it just so they could plop like 10
People will
Stormcrows on the
play it.
battlefield.
People will definitely play it.
The style points is where it's at, but like I could actually see a winning list with Crowstorm. It could definitely happen.
It's probably not optimal, but I think that you could win with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like if people would just scoop to Empty the Warrens, they would just scoop to this.
Sweet deck name, Stormcrow Storm.
Yeah. Crowstorm. Crow.
Storm. Wait. Yes. Just keep
Storm
saying
Crow
those
Storm.
words.
Yes, I like that.
All right, that's all the spoilers we're going to talk about. There are a ton of spoilers, so be sure to check them out on the site. We didn't have time to go over everything.
Yeah.
But there's some cool cards, very cryptic command, Over My Dead Bodies, Old Buzzbark, Dr. Julius Jumblemorph. So go check them out. Tons of mythics are already out already as well.
Yeah. For the sake of time, let's just jump right into fish mail. I know there's like a lot of different topics that but let's just jump right in.
All right. If you have your questions, send them to @MTGGoldfish with the hashtag MTGFishmail, and we'll get to your questions on air. First question from Admiral Wolf. I run Mind's Dilation, Possibility Storm, and Eye of the Storm in one of my Commander's deck. Is it possible to see any of these cards on Commander Clash?
Yes.
Haven't we played a bunch of these cards already?
Yeah.
I don't. It feels like most of them have probably been played at one point or another. I don't know if we've ever had a Possibility Storm deck, but I'll add that to my list.
From Drew Forsyth 2, do you guys feel the team series has contributed to a lack of diversity we see in the top 8 of GPs and Pro Tours? Too many people all deciding to play the same deck.
I do think that has a big factor.
Are we talking about like the team series or just teams in general?
No, people being on teams.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to a GP and you're going with a bunch of teammates and you're already locked in to a specific deck, that drastically reduces, the variance of seeing anything else, right? So
that's probably true, although it's worth mentioning that this was going on long before the actual team series started, because you think back to like Callblade in 2011 with Team Channel Fireball. So I think this has been happening for a long time, and it's not really the team series, just like teams in general.
Yeah, it's exacerbating it, but it's been going on for a long time. I mean, ever since like the internet was really like big, and there's a fast exchange of information, rather.
All right, Magpie Playtime. What mechanic from Unstable do you think is most likely to appear in a legal set?
Mechanic.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Augment. I think we could actually see some sort of, if not exactly the Augment mechanic, a combined mechanic like that.
I think wasn't that like Bestow, or what was the Theros one? You would know it best.
Bestow.
Bestow,
I think it was Bestow.
Isn't that pretty much Bestow?
I
think there was an article. They do.
Augments
they
are just
do like
auras,
these,
right? I mean, not even
right. Augments
Bestow.
like sort of just auras. Yeah. Wasn't there was an article, right? Like this is like the test run of like certain mechanics, right? To see if they can actually live in the wild.
Yeah.
I didn't see that article, but I heard people talking about it, so I think so.
I think Party Crasher could be a thing. which is you can attack once each combat during each opponent's turn. So getting to do stuff on other people's turns, I think, could eventually work its way into a real set.
Ooh, it's not really a new mechanic, but trample on spells could happen.
Oh,
that
yes.
seems like it could actually work.
Yeah.
All right. C. Brown Fit. Hey guys, I'm saving money for the release of Iconic Masters. My plan is to buy foils for Commander, like Hellkite, Kokusho, and Thune, and the cheap foils for Burn. Should I buy this weekend or wait 2 or 3 weeks?
I would wait.
Agreed.
Yeah, definitely wait.
Yeah, we haven't talked about Iconic Masters at all, but prices are dropping very, very fast.
They are dropping like a rock.
Next question. Is it possible to combine the original versions of Bruna and Gisela together? Would this be Gisena, Gruna, or Brazilla? So this is when you combine. Can you like stitch them together with what's her name?
Griselda?
With Grusilda. Yeah. Can you stitch them together? And
Yeah.
do they stitch the front sides or the back sides together?
I think they stitched the front side.
Yeah, I think they stitched the front
Yeah, I
side,
think-
but for flavor
They
purposes,
could still
I'll let the
meld.
back sides come together.
Yes.
Next question from Goku23. Are treasure chests predetermined like packs in real life? Or does RNG kick in the moment it's opened? That's part 1. Part 2 is from Low Skilled Games. Seth, when you opened 200 treasure chests, you got Scarab Gods, which were added after the update, but also Battlefield Forge, which should have been removed. Are chest contents predetermined? You may have gotten a mix of old and new ones.
So I believe that the chests are generated when you open them, not when you get them. And I have no idea why I got a Battlefield Forge. I actually know I do know, because one of the slots is just a modern legal rare. You get every single pack. So we probably got the Battlefield Forge as just the modern legal rare in the pack rather than the curated card.
I watched that stream opening. Daggers. Daggers.
Oh, it was so painful. It was so bad.
Taskmaster 1995. Do you think a functional reprint of Shivan Dragon and Uncommon would be too powerful for a draft format?
No.
Probably not a Masters set. I don't know about standard legal. I guess it's probably fine at this
What?
point.
No.
That's too good.
Shivan Dragon has been outclassed many times
By
now.
rares, right? But
No, not even rares. The 7 mana like 6/6 hexproof from Amonkhet. I'd rather Shivan Dragon than that thing.
I think it could be an uncommon now.
The alligator from Amonkhet. That was just
yeah, I guess
absurd.
you're right because
If-
like air elementals are typically uncommon,
Yeah.
and Sarah Angels
Even-
have been
yeah.
uncommon. So 6 mana,
Even
5/5.
Mahamoti Jin is like a uncommon at this point, isn't it?
Have we had one?
In Masters it is.
Yeah.
Iconic Masters.
All right, next question. Tasty Snackies. In terms of something like the Storm Scale, how would you rate mechanics with added dexterity, like willing test subject from Unstable, having a chance in a future set?
I don't think we will ever see cards that... Oh, wait. Willing Test Subject, that's just a die rolling card, right?
I don't know what that does. Hold on.
I have no idea.
Willing Test Subject, 3 mana, 2/2 reach. Whenever you roll a 4 or higher on a die, you get a +1/+1 counter on it. If you can pay 6 to roll a 6-sided die. I don't know if we'll ever have die rolling. I'm confused by the dexterity part. I don't think we'll ever see cards that make you do things physically in a black border set. Like jump up and down or things like that.
Yeah, things that like require cards touching other cards or like flipping cards or stuff like that. I don't think we'll see, but something like just rolling a die to determine the result of something.
Although Chaos Orb, it's like and Falling Star.
Yeah, I don't think we're ever seeing those ever again.
No, don't say
But I think willing test subject could be black bordered.
that. Yeah.
Next question, Alex Sneed. Chaz, you're focused on the financial aspect of Magic. Do you have thoughts on Palace Sentinel's wild ride due to Pauper? Think it will stabilize? Should it be more common in treasure chests?
I don't. I can't really talk to the MTGO aspect. I'm not really focus on MTGO, but let me get back to you on outside of the podcast because I don't have those cards in front of me.
Oh, I was just going to say, treasure chests kind of have weird rarities. So even though Palace Sentinels is a common, the fact that it's really in demand because of Pauper means it can maintain... It's not really a common like you would see in a standard legal set. So that's part of the what's going on there as far as Moto is concerned.
I don't normally see a ton of demand for Pauper stuff. Like, some of it translates to paper, but like what Seth said, some of the scarcity, bolsters the prices, at least on MTGO, a little bit more.
All right, next question from Control for Days. How do you choose between a brew and a tier 1 deck to take to a competitive tournament like a GP or PTQ?
Play something you're experienced with and enjoy playing.
Yep.
No, even regardless of whether it's a brew or a tier deck, play what you have the most experience with. I would say,
because you're going to be there for a while if you do perform well. So if you're not having fun, then why are you sitting there for like 8 hours?
All right, Heartwood, MTG. I'm going to Japan later this year. Any advice for buying and selling cards in English and Japanese, respectively, while I'm there?
I just don't know how much. Like, I know there's still a market for it. I just don't know how big or lucrative it is, like it was in times past. Like, I don't find nearly as many players actively looking for Japanese or Japanese foils as I once did. So I don't know. Like, you could definitely. I would still go for deals over there because you can still find, like, Commander's not as popular in other regions, so you can score some deals that way. But again, I just don't know how much desire there is in terms of looking for foreign foils and stuff like that. I don't know if people are paying the premiums as often.
All right, next question. Elmer6554. When's the best time to buy Ether Vials? I thought they dropped to 20-ish, but went down to 24 and now are going back up.
It's really hard to say. The fact that we have Iconic Masters in big box stores makes me feel like there's going to be a lot of supply out there, and maybe we're not at the bottom yet, but it's really hard to judge for sure.
Yeah, I would still continue to wait. Like, this happens a lot, especially in Matches releases. People think the cards, like, they do drop a little bit, and then they'll see a little bump on, like, the daily update, on the website or something like that, and they'll think it's like increasing again. It's just variance in many of the stores, like, just putting the product out there. I think that's still going to drop considerably.
All right, UZMech username. Who has more perfect hair, PVDDR or Reduke?
Reed.
Yeah, I think
it's
Reduke wins.
Paulo has pretty normal hair. All right, wait, Reduke or Brian Kibler?
Oh, well,
Brian.
Yeah, it's probably Kibler.
Is it Kibler? But he's a Hearthstone trader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is a trader, but
he's still got good hair.
But Reduke has like
hair,
the understated hair, like.
But
I didn't put
have
much
to answer
effort
the
in
question
it,
honestly.
but it still looks awesome.
He dresses nicer too. No offense.
All right, Reduke needs to up his marketing campaign with a new playmat. Clearly, that's the difference here.
Yes.
Lol Gold Steel. Why are people afraid of Stoneforge Mystic, Batterskull, and Batterskull when turn 2 Thought Not Seer and 8/8 Death Shadows exist? Two wrongs don't make a right, my friend.
Yes. There are still powerful things to do, but it's not Stoneforge Mystic, so
And
that's
I
what
mean,
people are hung up on.
and a lot of it is the repeatability. Like, you can still just kill a Thought Knot, kill a Death Shadow. When you have a Stoneforge out and a Batterskull, it's just 2-mana Batterskulls, or 5-mana Batterskulls, I guess, because you got to bounce it. But you can just do it over and over and over again.
Yeah, and every Stoneforge Mystic still replaces itself later on in the game if it even goes that long. So it's just an overall amazing card.
Yeah, plus you have to work to get your Thought Not Seer and your 8/8 Death Shadow,
Yeah.
whereas Stoneforge Mystic was 2 lands and a Stoneforge Mystic.
Yeah, it's like it's just free.
Yeah. Next question from Toolbar, Tinfoil Hat. Are we seeing too much, I don't even know what this word is, nepotism in feature matches?
Nepotism.
Nepotism? Pulling
Yes.
a Seth here. Can someone explain to me what nepotism means?
Nepotism is like your boss is your uncle or your dad, and you got hired because of your affiliation with.
Yeah, basically
Yeah.
favoring your family over
Yes.
other people for
Okay.
things like feature matches
I
in this
see.
case.
So the listed things are Grand Prix Portland, Baumeister 5x, Burkhart 4x, Woo 0.
I would say that probably the bigger issue is Travis Wu's history with Channel Fireball, I could see that maybe would be keeping him from feature matches, but I don't know about the other ones being too much out of 15 rounds. It could just be variance.
Is it really nepotism,
but it would be interesting to know if CFB was like intentionally not giving Travis Wu feature matches, but I have no
are these
idea.
players friends of WotC employees, or are they just like, we always see LSV on camera whenever you can get them there, right? Or we always see Reed Duke. Isn't that just like trying to show your famous players? That's not really like...
I think it's because CFB has all the GPs now, and they are Baumeister and Burkhardt are associated with CFB, so I think that maybe is what they're referring to.
Yeah.
Like favoring CFB players over non-CFB players.
Yeah. I do think that it is a little bit, but I don't know if it's too much. But I do agree other people that are not affiliated with CFB need to be on the feature match a little bit more.
The other problem is CFB has a lot of the best players. So if they're just featuring like the top rank players, that would naturally skew towards LSVs and EFROs and like people associated with CFB. So it's hard to really parse that out.
Right.
Yep. All right. Next question. Kyoji Takenouchi, would you do a Fishbowl Thursday featuring a commander deck?
Oh.
Not impossible. Probably not exceedingly likely. It's actually kind of challenging to do commander deck decks because they're so big, but definitely send it to me if you have a sweet commander deck and I'll look it over.
All right. Also from Kyoji, some of my EDH play group always targets me. Common factor is my cards cost a lot. Build a cheap deck or rebuild decks for arch enemy.
Build a cheap deck.
Yeah, I would probably just build some fun janky decks and try not to get targeted.
Yeah, usually if you play scary cards, people will want to kill you immediately. So
I call that the Jennifer problem.
Don't play Jin Gitaxias. Puts a big target on your head. Viper Johnny B, do you feel that WotC is coming out with too many products throughout the year? I remember the Manosaur's talking about this. You think they're fearful of people forgetting about them?
Yes.
Yes, of too many products or people forgetting about them?
No, people forgetting about them, yeah. It's not really about forgetting, but yeah, this all comes back into play about being relevant. I mean, the thing is, and we always talk about this on this podcast too, so I'm surprised more people don't talk about this, is with as many players as we have now, there needs to be multiple products for different players, right? Back then, it was only just like expert sets, right, or whatever they were calling them back then, and we didn't see as many supplemental products as we do now because there was only like X amount of players, and that was their core base, right? With so many different ways to play the game now and so many different players, you need to be able to have different products for all these different players. So I don't think it's too much, because someone like me could totally ignore Explorers of Ixalan, while Seth or Richard, that's something that they may like with a few friends. So they need to have those options.
I think I would say yes, but that it is too much. But I think that's mostly because I feel like 3 master sets within 12 months is way too much. But that might just be iconic masters and some weird quirk. So we'll see. If we actually have 2 master sets next year, then I would really start to be concerned, because I think that's too many master sets.
The master sets is probably where we hit too much, but I think it's just a special case where it was like the 25 to 20 or whatever anniversary, and they just kind of wanted all this stuff to kind of happen at once, right?
Yeah.
And HasCon. So it was just kind of all these different things happening at one time.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's too much. Like, I can't keep up, and I'm reading this every day. Like, how is the random person on the street supposed to keep up, right? They're not. They're just going to miss things. So I think it's better to have fewer releases and make them bigger, as opposed to have so many small releases that no one can keep track of them. And so, like, kind of the too many master set is a problem, or, accelerating the launch schedule and things like that. I think there's just too much product.
It's the holiday time too. I mean, we went for like a good 3 or 4 months there, like in the summer, where we just basically had Hour of Devastation. Like, that was it.
Yeah.
So we had like almost the entire summer of like nothing. and then
Didn't we have
they kind
something
of wanted.
else?
No,
I feel like there was something in August. Commander decks.
Oh yeah,
But
Commander.
I mean, just
So-
in the past while, we've had commander decks, we've had what do you call it? The dual deck, which I don't remember anymore. Merfolk versus Goblin.
Yeah.
We
Maybe you
have
could scale back on the
Unstable.
dual decks,
We
too.
have Iconic Masters. We have Explorers of Ixalan. We have Rivals of Ixalan. We have Magic Arena. We have
Yeah.
like a lot of stuff.
And all of that, again, like all of that is to stay relevant. I mean, you're gonna do what? Maybe one draft of Unstable, and then it's literally out of your mind.
I think
You're on to
I
the
agree.
next thing.
I agree to an extent that not every product is for everyone, but it is a little weird to have two products releasing around the same time that are for the same people. Like a dual deck and Explorers of Ixalan seem to be like in a very similar, casual, somewhat new player-ish space. So it's a little weird to have that overlap with products that seem to be targeted at the same group. So maybe they could do a little bit better as far as that's concerned.
You have to take this into account too. Like, we do the podcast every week. Like, would you honestly, if you just go back to just being a player, right? If you weren't like creating content on a weekly basis, like, would you even care about Unstable? Like, you could just honestly close your eyes and look past to Rivals. Like, I don't even think I would even care about Unstable.
Well,
at all.
Unstable is one of the few things I do care about. Like, do I care about From the Vault Transform, which we forgot earlier? Nope. Do I care about Merfolks versus Goblins? Not
Sure.
really.
So, as a player, it's like, all right, when's Rivals? And they could literally just tune everything else out.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
I guess the other, and we probably shouldn't go too long, but I guess the other question is, like, Wizards has finite resources as far as developing and making sets. So if making Explorers of Ixalan for a very narrow, small market is taking away resources from making Standard as good as it could be, then maybe that would be another consideration of possibly being too much. Obviously,
Sure.
we don't know, but they do have a finite amount of like man hours and woman hours and resources to do everything they're trying to do.
Yeah, I'm just thinking from the perspective of you show up at Walmart, you need to buy something called Magic the Gathering for your nephew, and there's like a billion products that are vastly different there. Like, how do you choose, right? Like, well, it's so hard. Whereas if you just have like one product, have a big display or whatever, it's like much easier.
No, I don't
right?
think that's correct.
No?
I don't think that's correct. Because then, well, some Walmarts, like, the Magic, as much as you think there's Magic product out there, there's like still 25% Magic and like 80% Pokemon.
Yep.
And there's like tons of different Pokemon stuff, and no one seems to care like what they buy.
But the
for
Pokemon stuff is all
You
the
get-
same, except it's just like a different.
Yeah,
it's like
I
if you
know,
had a
but-
different Planeswalker pack, right? Like,
Yes. That is true, but the people still just buy it up.
Iconic Masters should not be in Walmart. I will say that.
That
I
was
feel
a
like that
little weird.
devalues what should be Wizards' premium brand to have it be a big box product.
That
It
was-
takes away from what it's intended to be, I think.
Yeah, not expecting that at all.
All right, Sepic121. Any chance we get a video of people playing Unstable together? Obviously not on Moto, but does anyone live close enough together to play it in real life?
I don't even
We
think I
are-
was close enough, even in New York.
We are so far away from each other.
Yeah. And Richard's on the other side of the country, no matter where
Maybe we
I
can
am.
do a Skype game or something. Maybe we can figure this out somehow.
Okay, yeah.
I do want to play Unstable. It does seem fun, at least once.
Physical unstable.
But I don't.
Okay.
Maybe
I don't
there's
want
a way to
draft
do
it,
it.
though. I just want to like build commander decks.
And we just have the honor system.
Unstable
yeah,
constructed.
something like that. But
It would be hard to draft
or
over
we could
Skype.
complain and hope they put it on Moto, but they never will.
We each open a pack and pick a card and then mail it to the next person, and it takes us like a year to actually
To draft.
I think we answered this a long time ago, but it's a fun question. From R. Sassville, the GPs having team constructed next year. Would you guys consider going as a team? Who plays Modern? Who plays Legacy? Who plays Energy? I mean Standard.
We definitely, we answered this, but I think it was Richard's Legacy, Seth's Modern, I'm Standard, or other way around.
I think it's even more so that now because you're the only one that doesn't actively hate energy. So you're stuck with it.
I could stomach playing Energy, so I guess that's how it has to be.
All right, with core sets coming back, how do you feel if that's where WotC puts masterpieces? Can still be catered to new players, but gives a franchise player something to look forward to.
That seems better.
Yeah. I
That
mean,
seems better.
I'm sure we'll have them in Dominaria, but I'm not against masterpieces.
Oh, they're definitely
in
cashing in on Dominaria.
core sets.
That's
Yeah,
for
it's too easy not to.
sure. Yeah. We said it was like when we felt it was worthy. We gave y'all a break with Ixalan, but they're back for Dominaria, and you better
Wait, what's the
believe it.
next core set called?
Just core set 2019, I think.
Oh,
Yeah,
so it's not so
core set
M25 or whatever and Dominaria are not the
No,
core
it's
sets,
not.
right? Those are just normal expansions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, there's 25th anniversary Masters edition too.
Yeah.
I'm all confused, guys. Too
gonna
many
get pretty
products. Too
confusing.
many products. All right, that's all our fish mail. Thank you, everyone, for sending them in. If you have questions, send them to the hashtag MDGFishmail on Twitter.
All right, gentlemen, we are past time. We answered everything. I know there's a lot to talk about, but we are going to end it here. Thank you, everyone, for listening in this week. We will see you all next time. This is going to be the MTG Goldfish crew signing out.